Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be talking about Will Smith and Jada Pinkett-Smith because it is yet again something I cannot escape from. I feel like it's been at least a week or two now that my social media, every second post, there's a new revelation that Jada Pinkett-Smith made about Will Smith, about their relationship, about her life while in the relationship. There's just no getting away from it. Personally, I feel uncomfortable reading a lot of those things because I'm like, did the public have to know this? Now, of course, Jada Pinkett-Smith is free to put whatever she wants out there. That's not what I'm debating. Her right to say whatever she wants about her relationship, that's her business. When I see shit like this, I think, okay, if I were in a divorce, a bad breakup, anything aside from abuse, I probably wouldn't put out there simply because a lot of the time the context gets lost. A lot of the times it's not really necessary and it doesn't help anything. And a lot of the times it ends up blowing back on someone else, like your children, your family members, blah, blah, blah. Let's talk about what has been all over the place, all over the timelines. So there are a couple of videos and then a little bit of an article that I want to talk about just as the main things that came up on my timeline. I did not even really do the amount of research I usually do because this stuff found me, which is also part of my frustration because I didn't really want to know any of this stuff. And I really do think there is something to be said about where do you draw the line? A lot of celebrities are writing memoirs, but we also have to face the fact that there are celebrities where it makes more sense than others. Britney Spears, for example, that to me makes sense because she was silenced. There was, in my opinion, some serious abuse going on there. It's a question of not clearing your name, but talking about things that you were stopped from talking about. My opinion doesn't matter at the end of the day because people can say whatever they want. One of the first things that I came across was this video where Jada Pinkett-Smith is talking about her relationship with Tupac.
A lot of people might not know, but he proposed to you while he was in jail.
I talk about this in the book when I go to see him in Rikers, when I wrote about that in the book and when I had to talk about it, speak my words for the audible version of the book. That was probably one of the more painful parts, seeing him there, the condition that he was in and having to leave him there. And he was in bad shape. And so when he asked me to get married, he was at Rikers. And I knew at that time that he needed somebody to do time with him, which I was going to do anyway. You didn't have to marry me to do time. Right? I'm here.
I see why we love you.
And then he needed a rock. He needed, because of our friendship and because of everything we had been through together, he just wanted to feel that solidified foundation, because I promise you, he would have married me and divorced me as soon as his ass left jail. He would have.
Right.
I'll be real with it.
Right. Because so many people in that position don't have support.
Right.
None at all. None.
And,
he got the best.
Right. He was just like, look. And I just think it was the mind state that he was in. He wrote me this long letter. And I think even before Pac went to jail, he was starting to shift in a certain manner.
Good or bad? Good.
Really good. And I think that for him, he just felt like, okay, if I can tether myself, it'll keep me on a trajectory.
I think there is such a thing as sharing information in a way that is going to be to some degree hurtful. So there are a lot of quotes, articles where she basically apparently said that Tupac was her soulmate. She was married they're still married, I guess. They're just not together, not officially divorced, whatever, until 6 years ago or 7 years ago. So to say that someone was your soulmate and then you chose to marry someone else, implying they're not your soulmate, unless you believe in multiple soulmates, I guess. The type of hurt that must cause for someone to do that publicly, even if this is a conversation that was already had behind closed doors, like, did you really have, like, did you have to go there? That is my stance on all of this, or the majority of this, is did we have to bring it to this point? Did the public really need to know any of this? Did your children have to know any of this? Like, I know that they're adults. I don't know what anyone gains from this. That's what I'm gonna say. Okay, let's quickly address my biases. Now, Jada Pinkett-Smith, I really used to have no opinion on because I didn't watch anything that involved her. I never watched the Red Table Talks. I never, so I didn't really have an opinion aside from, okay, yeah, she's Will Smith's wife. Will Smith used to be a really, really big fan back when I was a kid because I was obsessed with Men in Black, whatever. I try to keep actors' lives separate from their careers, in the sense of, if I like an actor, I don't delve into their lives. I don't try to find out their opinions on things. For the most part, I just view them as actors, and outside of that, we don't know her. The more I started kind of seeing Will Smith outside of just being the actor that I liked in movie A, B, or C, the less I don't know. So the thing is, I don't really have a bias here, because with Jada Pinkett Smith, I did not care. With Will Smith, liked him as an actor. As people, I don't have any particular positive or negative opinion. Generally speaking, I have opinions about their actions though. So these are the kinds of things that I've been seeing on my timeline as well. Jada Pinkett Smith recalls being confused after hearing Will Smith call her his wife at the 2022 Oscars. First of all, I'm really shocked because, mind you, I'm not there. We haven't called each other husband and wife in a long time. So this was when the slap occurred, right? So in this case, again, I was kind of confused as to why it was necessary to bring up the whole slap. Like, I get it was a big moment or whatever, but at the same time, it makes Will look some type of way, right? To defend his wife, because I believe that's what his intention was. Not condoning violence, by the way. I'm just saying I think the mentality behind it was that he wanted to protect his wife, I think. Now, by saying this, she makes it look doubly bad for him, because not only did he decide to get violent, but also he did it in apparently an inappropriate way, in the sense of they're not even together, so he has no real reason to be hitting someone to defend someone who's not even his wife. And see, it's exhausting to do the mental gymnastics to even know what we're supposed to be calling them, husband and wife, separated, not divorced, I don't know. So again, was it really necessary to bring this up when we're not really adding much context? Because, like, okay, you guys already weren't together, so you were confused. Now what? Like, how does that change anything of what happened? Then there are some behaviors of Jada Pinkett Smith's that I think don't portray her well. Now, again, I don't know any of these people, so I'm not going to say that these completely encapsulate who they are or are completely opposing who they are. I'm just saying this looks bad. So just watch this video.
You know, Esther Perel is coming to the table. She's going to be at the red table. Would you say she has been instrumental in you and I redefining our relationship?
I would say don't just start filming me without asking me
Oh my goodness.
if you could film me.
Esther, come help us again, please. I'm still dealing with foolishness.
Don't. No, because she don't just.
Would you say that she helped us heal the hurts that we caused between one another?
My social media presence is my bread and butter, okay? So you can't just use me for social media and not, don't just start rolling. I'm standing in my house. Don't just start rolling.
Please watch us stare at the red table, because she's helped us a lot. Can't you tell?
I feel like this is very weird shit to post. I feel like it's very weird to go live and talk about your life or post about your life with a partner who doesn't want to be in the video, or anyone who doesn't want to be in a video or filmed in the first place. But especially if you're going through a weird and hard time, does it seem to you a good idea to put a camera in someone's face without their consent to talk about how a doctor allegedly helped you or didn't help you? I mean, at that point, to me, it seems like you're trying to push someone's buttons, because in what world would someone react well to this? I really want to be clear about one thing as well. I've seen a lot of think pieces on Twitter about people saying that Jada Pinkett Smith is getting vilified because she's a woman and because she's black, and that's why people are mad at her or don't like her behavior. We know that racists and misogynists exist, and I'm sure some of them have voiced their opinions. But we also cannot say that any random person commenting on all of this is racist or misogynistic because they're commenting on a woman's behavior. These are questions of privacy, respect, empathy, emotional intelligence. There's so many things here that have literally nothing to do with any of that. And I feel the same way regardless. With anyone in any type of relationship, whether it's hetero or not, the rules are the rules for humans generally. But I do think it's silly to write off any type of criticism because at the end of the day, that is a very slippery slope to take, because then I could say that anytime someone critiques me, I'm a woman and therefore you hate women because you're critiquing me. So I found this article that says, in the buildup of the release of Worthy, her new memoir for people who wish we were all still talking about the slap, she also goes as far as to recontextualize the perceived animosity between her family and comedian Chris Rock, telling a story to people about Rock calling to take her out several years back because he too thought she was divorced. He was appalled and he profusely apologized, and that was that, Pinkett-Smith writes. Little did Rock know that she was not divorced and not single, but single enough to have an entanglement. It doesn't seem all that insane, all considered, for a newly divorced guy to call up someone he thought was also newly divorced, but like all of Pinkett-Smith's anecdotes, the details are vague enough. He called me and basically was like, I'd love to take you out, to tell a story of soured interest. It's possible Rock just wanted to hang and talk, but in reframing part of their professional relationship as a romantic rejection, the details of the ongoing slap drama continue to enrich and confuse. Is this because there's a deep-rooted celebrity lore, or because Pinkett-Smith has controlled the narrative around this event as best she can? In People, Pinkett-Smith also added, do I have any desire to talk to Chris? Here's my desire. I just hope that all misunderstanding around this can be cleared up and there can be peace. It is funny to say something like this before launching into an anecdote on past kerfuffles between her family and Rock, and it is hard to read the comment like anything other than a fuck you toward the comedian. It is hard to read any of her comments in any one particular way because, as Hoda Cop says, Pinkett-Smith is a straight shooter except when she's not. I feel like nothing is really clarified, and maybe that's one of the worst things, because if you decide to talk about something that I still think should remain private, if you're gonna talk about it, you might as well clarify things, because if you're just gonna add shit to make it more vague and weirder and just overall to not really add anything to the conversation, why are we bringing up the topic? Now I'm thinking, okay, maybe she's putting this vague shit out because in her book, she's actually going to explain things more. And I hope that that's the case, because otherwise, none of this is productive, and on the contrary, could be damaging, because unless you want to fuel rumors, which could very well be the case, this shit is probably gonna end up hurting someone. But maybe it's contextualized and explained in her book, who knows. Her cheating scandal was framed as an entanglement. When she addressed the seemingly open nature of their relationship, she wrote, "Open marriage, let me first say this. There are far more important things to talk about in regards to what is happening in the world than whether I have an open marriage or not." A non-statement on par with when Jeremy Strong went on What the Fuck with Mark Maron to promote Armageddon Time, then ended the interview reminding everyone that being an actor doesn't matter in the face of the conflict in Ukraine. Pinkett-Smith doubled down on her not open marriage stance with a series of rhetorical questions. Do we believe loving someone means owning them, she asked. Do we believe that ownership is the reason someone should behave? Do we believe that all the expectations, conditions, and underlying threats of you better act right or else keep one honest and true? Do we believe that we can have meaningful relationships with people who have not defined nor lived by the integrity of his or her higher self? In obfuscating her truth by reflecting their relationship outwards, it's our fault for caring, and it's our fault for having narrow visions of love. It's our fault for not knowing what unconditional love is or does or means. By the time you finish reading the series of questions, it's hard to know what she or we were talking about in the first place. So this article does partially drag her, to be fair. And to be honest, I have a pet peeve with people who answer questions with questions, because most of the time their questions aren't answering your question. Their questions most of the time move your question over, make you forget your question, or try to make you feel stupid for your question. I know, because when I ask people rhetorical questions, it often is to make them feel fucking stupid for what they just asked me. Again, this non-answering, when she asks questions like this, the implication I get is, oh, there are bigger, more important questions at hand, like the meaning of love, the meaning of committed relationships, blah, 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 which is fine. But it's also like, okay, if these are the bigger questions we're focusing on, why are you gonna write a book focusing on the little questions that we ask you that you're not answering because we apparently need to focus on the bigger questions? Like at this point, which one is it? This is one of those things that is mutually exclusive because it's like me saying, hey, your gossipy questions are stupid. Let's talk about these bigger, more abstract questions. That's fair. But if I write a book that's about the gossipy questions, then where are we left? Because either I'm a hypocrite then, or I simply changed my mind. But at that point, it's really hard to know what is genuine coming from you and what isn't. And I think that's what a lot of the public is feeling, and I feel like that's maybe why a lot of the public does not have a particular sympathy towards Jada Pinkett-Smith, but also because Will Smith isn't really saying anything. Granted, there are plenty of reasons why that might be, but the reality is that he's still maintaining a level of privacy there, which she isn't, which I think a lot of people are responding to with, dude, it seems like he doesn't want to have all this out there. It seems like he doesn't want to be part of whatever this is. So her continuing to describe these stories that make him look not great, let us say, make people not really want to listen to her or make people want to critique her more because it really seems like she's taking it out on him. And I'm not saying that's the case, I'm just saying I think that's how a lot of people perceive it. And you guys can let me know if I'm wrong. Anyway, you guys can let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons as always, and I'll catch you guys next time.